friends! Thanks for popping by. So for today, I wanted to show off a little bit of my process of how I design my D&D characters. Specifically, breaking down my process in a bit more focused detail. As an artist, I am a very visual person. I know I've said this before, but drawing my D&D characters and visualizing them when playing has always been one of my favorite aspects of D&D and character creation. I like being able to show off my designs to my fellow players as well, and now I'm going to show one character design off to you all, and hopefully impart some knowledge about the process I use. So strap in, grab your own character sheets if you want to follow along, and let's get designing. So the first thing I like to do when it comes to character designing is, of course, concepting. When I'm creating my D&D characters, and even other characters in general, I often get a picture in my mind midway through the process. And through this mental picture, I often get an idea for their gimmick. Having a gimmick to go off of can make your character designing process a lot easier. If you have a specific topic that you want to incorporate into your character design, then finding design choices that align with that for things like clothing, accessories, all of that jazz, then it really makes it a lot easier to find your inspiration, at least I think. Even if you want to go in the completely opposite direction of what their gimmick is, it's always helpful to have that as like a basis. Sometimes said mental picture is more clear than other times, but once I have it, I draw out the elements I see. So in Vasati's case, I drew out a skull mask and the first draft of her hairstyle. The next thing I think is necessary to consider is the setting that this character is going to be a part of. In this case, my friend, who was my DM for the one-shot this character was a part of, let me know that the setting was an art college in a fantasy 1800s style world. So I immediately began looking into 1800s fashion, specifically European fashion, as I felt that fit the setting my DM had described to me. The hook was a Halloween celebration, and so I got right to work thinking of what Vasati would be wearing to the party. Pinterest often ends up being my main source for finding references, and this was no exception. The main references I used were things like you might see in Little Women, 1860s type clothes, blouses with long sleeves and high collars, and long skirts that were voluminous. I especially went in that direction with Vasati's costume. The concepting stage was a bit difficult for me, but once I figured out what direction I wanted to go in with the costume, it wasn't so bad. Obviously, I took a few liberties, as this wasn't just a period piece, it's fantasy. So her hairstyle in Everyday ended up being a low ponytail, which could show off just how long her hair is. Another aspect I pay attention to is the personality of the character. I knew that a bunch of bells and whistles wasn't in Vasati's nature. When it comes to her style, she's very simple, especially given her economic status, so leaning into more working class attire was the obvious choice. However, for her costume, I knew I wanted to go a little more on the opulent side, but still retain a sense of simplicity. The solution came to me pretty quick with this one. I'd make her dress a single color. Now, if you haven't guessed Vasati's gimmick yet, I'll tell you now. The basis for her character is death. Specifically, a character who is not bothered by death and, in fact, may even be friends with it. Vasati is a half-elf grave cleric, one who serves a god of death and is often surrounded by it. As a child, she was fascinated by the way death makes way for new life. She took up gardening as one of her hobbies and often used animal corpses as fertilizer for her flowers. However, this wasn't her only dance with death. The orphanage she lived in was plagued by it, and half of the inhabitants, including the woman who ran the orphanage, passed away. Since this incident, Vasati has taken it upon herself to help usher the dying into their eternal rest. This mentality is what attracted the attention of Kelemvor, the god of death who took interest in Vasati. Kelemvor guides Vasati like a father, and she heeds him like a loving daughter to this day. She honors him and her fascination with life and death through her sculpting, and she continues even now to keep a garden of flowers on campus. I know this is a lot of development for a one-shot character, but honestly, I can't help myself. I think it helps me personally to play my characters better if I know exactly who they are. And I'm a bit of a perfectionist, so I always want to play my characters to the best of my abilities. For the actual drawing process, I used a bit of a different process than I normally do for the headshot, one I didn't really like and won't be doing again. I used the soft dip pen tool I usually use for coloring to do the sketch, line, and color it. What I usually do, and what I did for everything else, is sketch everything out, usually on paper, but this time it was digital, then go in and refine with the pencil tool. I've been doing that for a while, and I honestly like it. Better than the hard outlines I used to do anyways. I think it fits my style best. After I am done with that, I use the dip pen to color in the base colors, then lock that and add any color gradients I want to. In this case, I just did flats for the most part, just laying down the base colors where I want them. As part of her gimmick, especially when drawing her again, I did decide to redesign her vitiligo spots and make them more skeletal. I didn't draw out all of them because the other key spots are always hidden under her clothing, but the two main ones that are pretty much always visible are the ones on her hands and on her face. I think if I've done my research correctly, Vasati would be classified as having acrofacial vitiligo, and I do think that I like to keep working on designing how it looks, because I think it would be interesting if it went through dormant and active phases like vitiligo does, and change throughout her life. She does also have some scars, specifically on her left hand, and you will notice a couple are really big. I'm still not sold on the lore that makes these scars a thing, so it may end up changing in the future, but who knows. So for Vasati's Halloween costume, I wanted to do like an elegant Grim Reaper thing. So I made her dress big and poofy, with lace accents, a lace high collar, and lace fingerless gloves. And instead of making it black like you might typically expect, I made it white. I felt like the white would pop out and contrast against her hair, because if I had just done the black for the costume as well as keep the black for her hair, I feel like the details could have gotten lost. So that's another reason why I felt like white was a good choice. Not to mention the fact that white is the color of bone, and also the fact that, Grim Reaper characters are usually done in black. I also added this cute headband thingy. I'm not exactly sure what it's called, but it's actually really cute, and I thought it worked well with the rest of the outfit. I also added the big hood, and it is detachable just in case she wants to wear the dress without it. She also wears her holy symbol as a little brooch around her neck. This is a style element from the 1800s that ended up lending itself very well to a cleric character. This is a super basic character sheet, only the essential elements, or rather known elements, are here. I'll probably make a new one for her as I figure out more about her, but till then, I'm happy just keeping it small. If you want to see more of Vasati and learn more about her while I figure her out, drop it down in the comments and let me know. What do you think of her design so far? Any critiques, comments, thoughts, concerns? I'd love to hear them all. And while you're at it, like the video and subscribe to the channel. I want to hit 1,000 subscribers by 2026, so if you do that, you'd really be helping me out. Anyways, back to Vasati. When choosing a color palette for my characters, I like to think of two things. One, what kind of person are they when it comes to fashion? And two, what colors complement their existing colors? You may not have a clue what your character's skin, hair, or even eye color is going to be at the beginning, and I typically like to consult the internet when this happens to me. I'll go to Pinterest or search up random color generators and just search until I find the color or colors that feel right. In Vasati's case, I didn't have to do this because I already had a picture in my mind of her colors. The copper skin tone with that pale vitiligo on her face and hands, and of course, the jet black hair. So when it came to her clothing, I knew that she would usually choose to dress with contrasting value, not color. I thought that blue would complement her copper skin and black hair, so I used an extremely pale blue for her blouse and the stripes on her skirt, and then a deep midnight blue for the skirt base. Then for her sculpting apron, I decided on a basic brown apron to protect her clothes from clay. Then it was just a case of getting everything organized using the parallel gradation tool to color the background and working out the text font and placement, and that's this character sheet done. And welcome to the end of the video. I'm actually really curious if this kind of thing is something that you guys would want more of. Do you guys like it when I talk about like character creation choices and why I do certain things? Or do you just kind of like me to throw the backstory at you and draw your own conclusions? Let me know down in the comments and help me feed the algorithm. Because if I am going to get 1,000 by 2026, I don't know why I said it like that, but if I am going to get 1,000 by 2026, then I do need all the engagement that I can get. So even if you just drop a like, that's already helping me out so much. And thank you to all of my 310 subscribers. Your support really means a lot to me, so thank you. I really did enjoy doing this character sheet for Vasati. I'm not normally the type who does character sheets. I usually just do the finished poses. And again, this is kind of because I'm a perfectionist as an artist. I feel like a lot of artists fall into the trap of being perfectionists, so I'm really not unique in that aspect. But I am trying to break through my perfectionism, so if you would like to come on the journey of me getting out of my own head for a change, then subscribe to my channel. I am working on posting videos every other Friday, so if you would like to keep as up to date with me as possible, subscribe and click that notification bell so that you don't miss any of my uploads or any of my community posts, which might be coming out to preview videos or let you know if there's any schedule changes. There might be some schedule changes moving forward because I am currently on the hunt for a new job and working on like a bunch of other projects, but if there are any schedule changes, the community tab as well as my socials, being Bluesky and Instagram, are the places to check for those updates. Anywho, I think that is about it for me today. Time to wrap up the video. If you guys have made it this far, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're interested in more D&D stuff, you can watch my solo D&D video. Episode 0 is out now. If you're interested in my unsolicited opinion on Pyrrha from Ruby, go ahead and watch that video if you haven't. And if you'd like more character design videos, I'm going to leave a link to my playlist up in the cards. So feel free to check it out. And with that, I shall bid you adieu for now. Take care and have an awesome day. Bye!